I think I'm live. I'm really not sure. I've never done a live stream on this channel before, but I was just sitting here and I just needed to talk, and this is my best avenue to do so. Oh, I see there's some folks in the chat saying hello. Hello. So I guess you found me, even though this wasn't announced. Yeah, I just felt like I was sitting here, I was working on a video, and I felt like I wanted to talk about a trip that I just went on. I just came back from England. Mrs. Brown and I went to England for an event called Makers Central. And it was really fun. I had a really good time. I met a ton of people, and I just didn't want to go. I totally didn't want to go. So I have this social anxiety. And right before I'm supposed to do something, I had this anxiety that basically says I don't want to do it. And I don't have a name for it, but I call it, I feel like crap, I don't want to go. And so right before Birmingham, I said, I feel like crap, I don't want to go. And Mrs. Brown, she's so good. She's just like, you know what? It's going to be fine. We're going to go. We're going to have a good time. You need to get out in the real world. And so we did. And we took a train. We didn't take a train. I live in California, and the event was in England. I didn't take a train. That'd be a really cool train. I want to go on a train like that. So we did was we went from SFO to Seattle, and from Seattle to Iceland, and then from Iceland to Manchester, because we couldn't get a flight into Birmingham. And we took a train from Manchester to Birmingham. And I got to tell you, 7 hours in the sky between Seattle and Iceland sucks. It just sucks. I mean, unless you're going first class, which I'm not going to pay for, it's not a fun flight. And Icelandair, they seemed like really nice people, but like half of the media items were Icelandic documentaries with English subtitles. So yeah, I didn't really watch anything. I mostly just looked outside and, thought about the fact that we were flying for the next 4.5 hours. It was insane. But so when we landed in Iceland, it was crazy. It said it's going to be 2 degrees Celsius outside. For those of you in the US, that's like 36 degrees, right? And we're like, wow, that's really cold. And then they pulled up this stairs by the side of the plane, and we walked out of the plane onto the tarmac. And everybody, all the ground crew and everyone's wearing these giant parkas. And these are people that boarded in Seattle. So like t-shirts and jeans or shorts. Some people were in flip-flops, and we just walked out into the frozen tarmac of Iceland. And they're like, that way to the terminal. It was insane. I suppose if you grow up in a place like Iceland, you're just used to things being harsh, and so they probably didn't even think about it being strange, but it was super strange. It was super cold, amazing. It was beautiful. There's no trees, which I found really interesting. It's just, there's no trees at all, except for the ones that they planted, themselves, because some tourists said, hey, where are all your trees? And they went, I guess we should do that. But we went to Maker Central, and we got there, and somebody's asking for a taco hammer. Yeah, I don't have a taco hammer. I'm reading the comments now because it was really cool to meet you. And we actually met. That's so cool. You didn't come off super weird. Nobody came off super weird. I'm the only one that came off super weird because, as I said, I was anxious, and I hope I didn't say anything weird or offensive, but it was really a pleasure to meet everybody. So what we did is, for those of you who don't know, there was an event that I went to called $5 for a taco hammer now. Why am I reading the comments? They are so bizarre. Okay, I'm going to focus on this, and then I'll read the comments in a little bit. I'm going to continue to tell my story. So anyway, I didn't want to go, and I didn't want to go up until the day of the event. And we got there, and we lost a day, so we left at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we basically got to the hotel at 5 o'clock the next day, and we hadn't had any sleep. Somewhere over Greenland, it changed from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., and so we skipped the nighttime. And we arrived in Manchester, England, and it was surreal. I'd never been to the UK before. In fact, I've never even left the United States before. And so I go up to this thing that says information booth in Manchester, and I say, I need to get a train from Manchester to Birmingham. What do I do? And he opened his mouth and he spoke English, but I didn't understand a single word of it. I couldn't place it. I'm not going to try the accent because I don't want to offend anybody, but it was really thick and heavy. And he smiled at me and I smiled at him. And I walked out of information booth and I went back to my wife and I said, I have no idea how to get from Manchester to Birmingham. And we both sat there and we sort of laughed for a little bit because we were just so tired. And I went, okay, I'm going to try again. I went back in. I said, I'm super sorry. I have no idea what you said last time. Can you try it again? And he wrote it all out for me. So we figured out how to get from A to B. And we arrived in Birmingham, and it was just nice. It was super nice. It was beautiful. The weather was gorgeous. It was like 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and it was gorgeous. And we sat in the lobby, and I was exhausted. And I knew if I had any alcohol, I would just fall asleep in the lobby. So I ordered a Coke. We got a burger and a Coke. I flew from California to England, and I ordered a Coca-Cola and a hamburger. I felt like a total pedestrian, like just not even going to experience the world. It was good Coke, and it was a pretty mediocre burger, and we just sat down and had a long conversation. I had a long conversation with a whole bunch of people. I met a ton of folks, and I just started to relax, and it was really nice. And I realized that people actually wanted to meet us and wanted to talk to us, and I was really glad that we decided to go. And then the next morning we go to this event, which I honestly didn't know what it was going to be. And 4,000 people came. It was in a medium-sized hall, but it was nowhere large enough for 4,000 people. It was insane. And so my wife and I decided that we were going to see some of it. We're going to start walking around and looking at the booths because there was tons of booths. There was a forge there, a live forge. Someone was doing work with hand tools. There was tons of wood turners. There was tons of products that I'd never seen before, companies that were English only that I'd never even heard of before. And so we're like, we're going to walk up and see some of these booths. I got 4 paces, and somebody stopped me and said, oh my gosh, I love your channel. I love your videos, and wanted to talk. And that's what we're there for. So we started to talk. And we have a short conversation. We take a picture. It was really nice. And then I sort of go to one side and I look, and there's a line of people queued up behind this person, like an amusement park. And we've probably got 20 to 25 people deep. And they just queued up behind one another. And I found out later that in Britain, queuing is pretty much a national pastime, and it's just something you guys do. And so we were an attraction. All of a sudden, we were an attraction, and we had a line, and I don't think I moved 10 paces from that point, and that was at 10 a.m., and we stood there till about 2 p.m., and it was amazing. It was amazing. People came up, they chatted, we had a conversation, they talked about the channel, they talked about what they were making. I tried to make a point of asking people what it was that they were making, what it was that they were into, why they were there. They showed me all these different things that they brought. And I was blown away. I had a lady cross stitch our channel on some fabric. I had someone give us a notebook with the channel name, and they even did the bread art, the bread pendant in here. I mean, it just didn't end. People were just coming up. Look at this. This is a bottle stopper. This is a bottle stopper with my face on it. It's a 3D printed bottle stopper, and it works. We actually were in a hotel, and we ordered a bottle of something that didn't have an opener, and we used this. So I have used my face to open up a bottle, which was amazing. I've got my logo printed on a hockey puck. I hear that Canadians play a game with this. I don't know if it's any fun, but appreciate that. And then somebody made a block of resin and cassette tape. Isn't that cool? I thought that was really cool. Yeah. And other people gave me things to dip. They wanted me to dip things. I've got Legos. I've got these amazing rings. So this guy makes rings out of coins. You drill a hole in it and then you hammer it. It's something they used to do in trench art, and you hammer it into a ring shape. And these are all of his failures. And he showed me the actual rings, and they were amazing. And it just kept coming and coming. And we were having these long conversations, and I felt like I almost ruined that because of my, oh crap, I don't want to go feeling. And I get that a lot. I get that, oh crap, I don't want to go feeling all the time. Anytime there's something that could be fun or exciting, I get all the anxiety about why it's going to be miserable. And I don't know, I'm sure other people have that. I just want you to know I have it too. But once I'm there, once I'm doing the thing, it's always so much fun. And it was so fun to meet everybody. And we had such a nice time. And we met all these creators that I've never, seen except for in the videos before, which was like amazing. I've talked about these folks before. I did a Milliput bowl. Hold on. You guys remember this? The Milliput bowl? This was at least a year ago now. And I met the guy that inspired me to make that. And the company, Milliput, is a British company. And I got to see them. The gentleman who made the original, it was Jim Overton. It still is. I met him. I met his daughter. I got to see some of his creations up close, some of the bowls that I actually looked at on the internet. I got to see him up close. I got to shake hands with Mike Wald, who is a turner that I've been following for a long time. I made it was a hot glue gun bowl. So it was a bowl. I spray painted it, and then I dripped hot glue all over it, and then spray painted it again. His goblets are amazing, and my hot glue gun bowl was a travesty, but we burned it and fixed it. Anyway, it's just got to meet all of these people and people that I've met before. I got to meet Jimmy DiResta again. I always like meeting Jimmy. Bob from I Like to Make Stuff. Jess from Jesse Up. And it was just fun. It was just a good time. And the first day, we had a panel where we had this conversation, and I don't know. And there weren't difficult questions, but just sitting there on this panel with three other people, Jocko from Jocko Whatever, Jess from Jesse Up, and Bob from I Like to Make Stuff, and I sitting on a panel, 300 people in front of us, and like all these people on the sides just standing there because we're there and they wanted to hear answers to our questions. It just felt real. It just felt real. I know it's real because I've had meetups before. I go to, oh, the resin's ready. I should go check the resin, but I'm not going to. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'll check it later. It'll be fine. Thank you for the alert. I forgot about that. I'm doing something weird out in the garage. I know that comes as a huge surprise to all of you, but I'll deal with it later. Anyway, long story short, I didn't want it to go by without me saying thank you. I want to say thank you to everyone who came up to me and shook my hand and took an awkward selfie with me. I want to say thank you to everyone who queued up and waited for me for an hour to talk. I want to say thank you for everyone for showing me your creations, for talking about what you make, your art, what you feel, how you feel about something, whether or not you like it or don't like it, and for coming out and showing support for me and for what I do. And I just feel like I'm just some weird guy in a shop, that it feels strange for people to feel anxious about coming up and talking to me, because some people were super on edge about having a conversation with me. And I found that amusing because I was super anxious about going out and having a conversation with you. So yeah, it's just it's interesting. I just needed to get that off my chest. So I've never done a live stream before, and now I'm sort of done with the reason for doing it, but I'm just going to sit here and answer questions because I don't know what else to do. I needed to talk about it. And I'm also going to be going to Makers Faire, and that's next week. And I'm starting to feel that whole tension again, that whole crap, I don't want to do it. And it's just like, crap, I don't want to go. And being on this side of it, I know it's going to be okay, but I'm like borderline agoraphobic at this point, and I'm like, I don't even want to leave the house. I don't need to go. All right, so what are we talking about in the comments? Where is Makers Faire? Makers Faire is in San Mateo, California. It is literally 2 hours from my house, so it's super close, and it would be a travesty if I missed it. Nick Clements, I always don't want to do anything. I feel the same way. Nick, I actually have a Christmas card from Nick up on my wall, up on my refrigerator still. So hello to Nick and your wife, which I don't want to mispronounce, so I don't remember her name right off the top of my head. Okay, so what are we going to talk about? Let's see. Comments strolling by. Could you make a tabletop fountain out of books? Tabletop fountain? I don't know what that looks like. I like destroying books just because I like all the people in the comments telling me how much they hate me for destroying books. There's only one thing worse than destroying books, and that's killing bugs, apparently. You kill bugs in a video, you're a monster. So yeah, I'd make anything if it meant I get to destroy bugs. Lisa, right, thank you. Her name is Lisa. I have a picture of Nick and Lisa on my fridge. Make a butterfly out of books. Okay, what else have we got? Lots of Dip It suggestions. I have so many Dip It suggestions, and I love the Dip Its. Oh, right. I came back from England, and the very first thing I did was I went out and I put a brand new pour on top of the Clockwork, and it looks great. So I put another 4 ounces on top. I did that last night, came out and looked at it. It looks perfect. You can't even see the patch. So, and you couldn't really see the patch in the video, but in real life, if you kind of tilted it a little bit, you'd be like, oh, gone. There it is, gone. And now you can't even see that. What is your favorite thing to make? I like to make everything once. So if I do the same thing twice, that's my favorite thing. If I could make an entire channel of just doing the resin art pours, that's what I would do. This is a resin art pour that my wife did, and I think it is my favorite. she called it something. Did we write it down? We didn't. She was thinking of a flower, and I don't remember what kind of flower. I'm not outdoorsy. I'm a kind of outdoorsy. I'm outdoorsy, like I like to have drinks on the patio. But this type of project is probably my favorite to do. And if I could get away with having an entire channel of just doing resin pours like that, I would probably do it because it's so much fun. And everybody who comes over, that's what they want to do. Nobody wants to turn on the lathe anymore. They want to make the resin art. Tiger lily. I think you're right. I think it was supposed to be a lily. Thank you, princess. Okay. Side channel. I used to have a side channel that I updated semi-regularly, but then it got demonetized by YouTube. And I thought, well, I'd still do this even if it wasn't getting paid. And then I didn't get paid. And I thought, no, I don't want to do it anymore. So, no. So there goes my altruism out the door. Apparently, I don't have any. Mancrafting. Wow, you just paid me money? Is that for real? Yes, Chad. I would like that video. My friend Chad from Mancrafting was at Birmingham, and he shot video of the demo that I gave. And what I did for the demo was I did the resin lava bowl demo. And in the middle of it, I fling the bowl out. It catches on the lathe and it flings into the air just briefly. And I have this horrible reflex where I reach over to grab the bowl as it's falling, and he's got the whole thing in slow-mo, and it looks great. You guys don't have to give me money. You don't have to give me money. I mean, I appreciate that, but I'm not, you don't have to do that. We're just here to chat. Honestly, we're just here to chat. So, thank you. Thank you very much. Wow. Somebody gave me, wow. You don't have to do that. I really do appreciate that. Okay. So I'm going to look at the questions here. No, I didn't see it, Angela. I just saw it. I will do something with it. I appreciate it very much. I very much appreciate it. Resin is expensive. The shop is expensive. I absolutely appreciate it. Okay. Where was I? My face is all red. Is it? It's a bad camera. It's not a bad camera. It says it's a 1080p, but it's still a webcam. So, and my internet's really bad here. My internet's like super lousy. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Are you calling me a knob, Felicity? Or are you just saying knob and I should make a knob? Or are you calling me a knob? Because that's not nice. Okay. What's with the taco hammer? I'm just sitting here looking at the comments. I'm super boring on the screen. I'm trying to read the comments and trying to think of something to talk about. So the other thing that happened in England is my wife and I went on a small vacation, and we had 2 days that we spent in London. So we went down to London for 2 days, and I love London cabs. They are by far the nicest, craziest people I've ever encountered in my life. You get into a London cab, you are basically taking your life in your hand, and they are super friendly about it. We get in, it's got this big plaque on the front that says, "Buckle up, it's the law." But they don't wait for you to buckle up. So you're frantically trying to get yourself buckled in, and they are just flying through the streets. We had a cabbie that made his own lane. He squeezed between a double-decker bus and another cab. The other cab leaned out the window, screamed obscenities at him, and he looked in the back and said, "Well, he's probably right. I wasn't very nice about it, but we're going to get you there on time." And he did. If I could afford to just travel via London cab, that's what I would do for the rest of my life. They were hilarious. But the tube was much more economical, though not nearly as exciting. Popcorn resin bowl. Yes, the popcorn resin bowl. I've had that suggestion forever. And the truth is, I have had so many suggestions forever. I had the cotton balls. I had the pancake suggestion for over a year. So it's not like I'm not getting to them. I'm just getting to them pretty slowly. I had a guy actually send me black and red popcorn that I'm going to try to make a popcorn bowl out of. And we're going to try to do the cereal bowl as well. And I've pretty much decided that we're either going to do Lucky Charms or Fruit Loops. I think Fruit Loops just because of the colors. But I can't just do bowls over and over and over again. So I have to kind of intermix it. So we do other projects in between. But I will get to them. I totally will get to them. Yeah. And micarta and other stuff. How do we send you stuff? I actually have a P.O. box. People send me things all the time, and I always appreciate it. And I always tell them the same thing. It might be a while till I get to it. I appreciate you sending me stuff. I have a huge box of items, and it might be a while till I get to it. The Clockworks that I just did, I think he sent that to me in February of last year. And the only reason I got to that as quickly as I did was because I left them out on the bench. And I thought, I really want to try to do something with things. But sometimes people have sent me things coming up on 2 years now that I'm absolutely going to use. I think they're super cool. I just haven't gotten a chance to do it yet. Peter, how did you like Birmingham? I literally lived down the road from the NEC. I really liked Birmingham. What's funny is, so apparently Birmingham has a sort of negative connotation. We were on the plane flying into Manchester, and we stood up and we were talking to the person in front of us, and she was like, "Oh, I'm coming home," and I was like, "Oh, that's great." I said, we're on vacation. She goes, "Oh, where are you going?" I said, "Oh, we're going down to Birmingham." And her demeanor just changed. She went, "Oh." Kind of like, "I'm sorry." And I said, "Oh, well, where are you from?" She goes, "Oh, I'm from Leeds." And apparently, Leeds in her mind and Birmingham, but everything we saw, it was amazing. We were reading through the guidebook. They have the hotels, they put like a book on the side table, and you're supposed to look through it when you're bored. And one of them said that they have a lemur reserve. You go to this place in Birmingham, and lemurs will just walk around, and you can just interact with them. I've never heard of anything like that. I mean, that's insane. My wife didn't want to go to London because she wanted to go to the lemur preserve instead. And I had to convince her, no, we're going to go to London. We're going to do, touristy thing. We're going to see the Tower of London. We're going to walk across the Tower Bridge. Big Ben was completely in scaffolding, which was hilarious. I've got some cool pictures of that on my Instagram. But yeah, it was fun. Oh, there we go. Somebody's already decided that Leeds is no good. Everybody, and what's hilarious too. So if I look at California on a map, California is huge. And when I identify California, I split it into two halves, Northern California and Southern California. And those are my two halves. And they're like 600 miles of state, 3 hours, in this direction, and like 8 hours in this direction. And I identify that as a single place, Northern California and then Southern California. And England, we could go like 20 miles. And they're like, well, those are the West Midlands. Those people are idiots. We're great. If you even go to London, if there's people in London, were you born south of the water? What? Well, if you're born south of the Thames, I have more respect for someone born south of the Thames than someone just common riffraff born in London. And so we had a little trouble getting used to that. But it was amazing. For all of you who live in England, it is an amazing country. It's a beautiful country. And I kept trying to do the accents, which Mrs. Brown just told me I needed to stop because I kept trying to go into the accents. And an American trying to pull off a British accent is a horrible thing to witness. So again, I deeply apologize to anyone who had to witness that. All right. Greetings from Brazil. Hello. I have friends from Brazil. I have friends from São Paulo. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will put it in the resin fund. Okay. Scotland might be on your next UK tour. Yes, for sure. Scotland is definitely on the list. In fact, I've got a Lonely Planet tour guide for Scotland. I want to go to Scotland, and we want to do Ireland, and I don't know if it's feasible to do both of those in the same trip. And just thinking about another 7-hour plane ride makes me think that I don't want to do it anytime soon. The day that transporters are invented, I will be the very first person in line. I do not care if my face gets scrambled as long as I get from A to B. I will absolutely give up my amenities if it means that I don't have to sit in a plane for 7.5 hours. Do you ever worry about exposure to resin and materials and dust in the air? Absolutely, 100%. Resin is terrifying, and we have lost a lot of resin artists over the years because people have been flippant about it, and it is really bad for your lungs. I have 3 respirators and a charcoal mask, and the truth of it is, what you see most of the time in the video are my hands. And so a lot of times I take off the mask so that I can talk, but then I don't mention it, and I should be much better about telling you, wear your respirator. I'm wearing my respirator. I took my respirator off for this conversation. I don't tend to use a full respirator when I use art resin. It's just, I don't know, it just doesn't have any odor. So I'll put on my dust mask. But for some of the super chemical-y stuff, polyester resin, it's death. I mean, it smells horrible. So I put the garage door open and I have a full respirator when I'm working on it. And if I don't, I get a sore throat a couple hours later. And that's terrifying. That's terrifying. Resin is highly toxic. Absolutely. I have a painter friend, and he said, just talking about paint and the toxicity involved in paint, if you can smell it, it's already in your bloodstream. So please take care. Buy a respirator, wear a respirator when you're working with resin. You really don't want to be exposed to that for long periods of time. Any shop update plans? I mean, I build cabinets and things in my shop, but I've never showed it on camera because I feel like it's super boring and nobody would be interested in that. So I'm building some more cabinets in the corner. I hooked up a dust collector. I have a dust collector. I don't really ever show that stuff. I just think people aren't interested in it. And if people are interested in it, there's channels that do a lot better job of me of showing how to do it. So I'll just stick to the weird stuff. I think that's where I'm comfortable. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll do another shop tour. I might. If I can make it interesting, I'll do one. But it's not my thing. I don't know if I could do it well. I also want to do a Resin 101 video. And so I actually recorded 40 minutes of me talking about different resins, and I got bored to tears watching it. So it was so boring. One of these days I'm going to try that again, see if I can make it a little bit more interesting. Resin safety video. I mean, it's important, but I don't know if I can pull it off. Yeah, I know, a Resin 101 video. It really would be good. I think it would be good. It was just, I fell asleep watching it. Has anyone told you you remind them of Rob Dyke? Yes, I have. I have gotten that before. He scares me, so he would give me nightmares. I watched some of his videos, and I was like, wow, we totally look alike, but he's terrifying. Yeah, I don't think it's mean. I don't think Rob or I think it's mean that we look alike. I hope not. Would you make any D&D stuff? I've never actually played any D&D. I've been a computer gamer for years, and I played lots of Wizards of the Coast computer games, but I've never actually done any actual board Dungeons and Dragons games, any actual paper and board Dungeons and Dragons games. That'd be fun, but most of my friends are jocks, so I don't know who I'd get to play with. What's the weirdest place you've found wood or resin shavings around the house? Well, they get in my hair because I put hair gel in. I've had hair gel in my hair since the 90s, and so basically anywhere. Yeah, I'll wake up in the morning and there'll be resin shavings in my bed. It's not unusual. And then being a typical, grown adult male, I'll blame it on somebody else in the house. Why did you get resin shavings in the bed? What's your problem? We're trying to keep a nice house here. There's shavings everywhere. So yeah, everywhere, absolutely everywhere. In my socks, in my shoes, at work. I have a little pile of resin shavings underneath my desk at work because, they're on my shoes and I sit there for like 8 hours a day. What is your most favorite wood? From Muhammad. Muhammad, my most favorite wood is actually olive wood. If you've ever turned olive wood or worked with olive wood at all, it is the most beautiful wood on the planet. It's got this nice oily texture to it. It turns beautifully. It works beautifully. And whenever I'm done working with it, I feel like I need to go out and eat pasta. It's just a wonderful smell. I also like walnut, and I like padauk. Yeah. And wood is actually much more pleasant to work with than resin. It is. I mean, I'm a resin guy. I totally make resin projects, but wood is so much easier to turn, and it's just more enjoyable to turn in general. Have you ever worked with burls? Yeah, I mean, yes, some. I was a wood turner for, I want to say, a good 4 years before I even ever touched resin. So I've done a lot of wood turning. I've turned a lot of wood. Around here, walnut is king. So here in California, we export 60% of the walnuts to the world. And the way walnut trees work is they give their best fruit in the first 5 years. So after 5 years, what they do is they cut down all the trees and they plant new ones. And so they take these trees and they're shipped out to all these different places and processed into boards. And it just so happens that one of the places that processes huge amounts of walnut is not too far from my house. And I did a video on that called Lunchtime Walnut Run. And I mean, I can walk in there and get the most beautiful walnut for $20 for a truckload. It's amazing, and it feels wrong. And I told the guy one time, I went in and I told him, they sell it as firewood, and I told him, oh, I'm a wood turner and I make bowls out of it. I mean, this wait, no, this didn't come from there. But anyway, I told him I make bowls out of it, and he was like, it's a shame. It's a shame you don't use it for firewood. It's great firewood. So it's hilarious the way people get things in their head and they decide what's important. But yeah, he was upset that I didn't burn the walnut. I've never cooked with walnut oil. Says Ashton says walnut oil is fantastic to cook with. I didn't know that. Who is better, Bobby Duke or me? I think Bobby Duke's amazing. I've watched him do carvings, and I can't get a picture in my mind into my hands. And I being able to do that is amazing. So I think Bobby Duke is a treasure. You heard it here first. Why would you burn walnut? It actually burns really well. We've definitely burned some walnut in our fireplace, but I like working with it better. More collabs. Maker in Training says more collabs. I do. I like collabs. I love collabs. I've done a lot of them. Actually, if I'm completely honest, the Upcycle Challenge was just a method for me seeing if that video format would work for collabs. And so if I ever have someone that wants to come by my shop, I want to try to pitch them to do that Upcycle Challenge with me. And I think that's what I'm going to try to do for future collabs, if they're up for it. So that was my reason for trying that, was to see if the format could be squeezed down to a 12-minute video. So hopefully we'll actually be able to make that happen at some point in the future. DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Makita. I mean, I've used DeWalt, and I've used Milwaukee, and I like them both. I don't think I care that much. I bought Ryobi because they're cheap, and that's what I use. Pit Piper wants to know, would you ever try to stabilize marshmallows? Pit, if you listen closely, you might be able to hear the stabilization chamber running right now, and there are marshmallows in them. So, yes, I'm going to try it. Whether or not it'll work, if you see a video about it, it worked. Beef or chicken ramen? Chicken ramen. What are we, savages? No one eats beef ramen. That's not okay. Or shrimp ramen. Never eat shrimp ramen. Chicken ramen. That's it. My goodness. Black locust. Kenneth wants to know black locust ? The answer to the question is black locust is awesome, and you cannot get it where I'm at. So in the Midwest of the United States, black locust is sold as fencing material. And most people don't know, who buy it, that it is fluoresces under a black light. Here in Sonoma County, California, you cannot find it. It is not available anywhere. In California, redwood is king for fencing. And I called around to every lumber yard looking for black locust, and I cannot find it. So yes, black locust, I would love some more of it. I just need to find some place to get it from. You love beef ramen. There's nothing. We can't communicate anymore. We've broken down communications. Thoughts and feelings on Purple Heart. I don't like wood that changes color twice. I feel like that's not cool. So Purple Heart is brown, and when it gets hot, it changes to this brilliant purple color, and then over time it changes back to brown again. So for a little while, you get this really brilliant purple piece of art, and then it fades back to brown. So yeah, Purple Heart. It's sort of purple sometimes. What's funny is in Brazil, I've been told, I don't know, I've never been there, I've been told that Purple Heart is so common that they actually use it on the telephone poles. So if you're looking for some Purple Heart and you're in Brazil, telephone poles, we could have a shortage of telephone poles come next week. This is so weird to be reading the comments and everyone's asking me about my favorite types of wood. That's just, it doesn't even feel right. Rice resin bowl. That's a cool idea. I don't have that in the stabilization chamber. I do have the marshmallows in the stabilization chamber, but I don't have the rice. That would be interesting. You know what? I can add that to the list. I like that idea. I've never tried rice before with resin. That might look cool. Bloodwood stinks. I hate bloodwood. Keep your bloodwood. It's freaking hard. Don't like it. You keep your bloodwood and your beef ramen. I don't want any. Stabilize fruit to see if it rots. Yeah, fruit's tough. So how do you like this face? So anything that has moisture in it, it doesn't work with resin. Resin and moisture, they don't work together. They just will not work. Like somebody wanted me to do Orbeez forever ago, so I tried. And you can't dip Orbeez in resin because they're just too wet and the resin won't cure. And the same thing goes with wet, fresh cut flowers or fruit or meat or anything, that has moisture. The reason I could do the bacon was because it was so greasy that there wasn't any moisture. Does that make sense? It was grease, not water. And so there wasn't a reaction between the bacon and the resin. But like if I had just taken a piece of cold cut, and tried to dip that in resin, it wouldn't work. So there's a lot of things you can't do. Jamie, thank you. It was really nice to meet you in person. There were so many people there, and it was really nice. And in the evenings, what we did at Maker Central is we just sat down and we talked. And I talked to people at length. I talked to so many people, and it was so much fun. I had breakfast with a gentleman named Matthew 2 mornings in a row, and he has this Scottish accent, and my wife said she's going to leave me for him because she just loved listening to him talk. So it's a good thing we left. Okay. Have you ever worked with myrtle wood? Here we go, back to the wood questions. In California, we call it baywood, and I actually made a bowl out of it, and it's got this really nice peppery smell to it. So yeah, I've totally worked with myrtle wood. It's a beautiful wood. Absolutely recommend it. It's got a wonderful smell in addition to it. Advice on starting a channel. Okay, so what's your motivation? My motivation for starting a channel was that I wanted to be motivated to go back out in the shop. I had no inclination for making money. That was not the desire at all. The desire for me was to go out back out in the shop and to make Jimmy DiResta videos so that I would enjoy myself. So if that's your motivation, to go out and do something enjoyable, to just have fun, then my recommendation is just go out and enjoy yourself. Just grab a camera, your phone camera, show yourself making things, enjoy the process, and know that it's not going to be perfect the first time, that it's going to take a long time. I look back at videos from a year ago, and I was just like, wow, the audio sucks. I'm blurry. The camera work's no good, but it doesn't matter. I'm still having a good time, and I'm not out to be a professional. So if your goal is to just have a good time, then I say the best advice for starting a channel is to just start a channel and try to find a niche that you like. Oh my gosh, people are paying me so that their questions. This is amazing. I don't even understand. Okay, I'm starting to feel bad here about the donations. Gone Zero said, you should try to do another epoxy painting. The last one you did was awesome. Thank you. I really do like those. They're really fun. And if anyone ever comes to my shop, as I said earlier, that is what they want to do. They want to do the resin art, and it is really fun, and it's addicting, and every time you do it, it's different. Pit Piper, this is the third time I think Pit Piper's asked a question. What do you think of Bob from I Like to Make Stuff? I've met Bob a number of times, and every time I've met him, he is a super nice guy, which means that more than likely he is hiding something. He's a super nice guy. I love Bob. Bob has taken plenty of time to answer my dumb questions over the years and my frantic, weird emails, and I appreciate him very much. And he seems as nice in person as he does on the camera. Temple Boy Turning. It was great to meet you at Makers, but you didn't drink enough Guinness. I didn't have a single beer in Birmingham. I had my only beer that I drank the entire time that I was there was a cask beer called London Pride that I had on Parliament Street, and it was the worst beer I've ever had in my whole life. I am super sorry. I'm sure that there are much better beers than that one. I would not recommend London Pride. How do I? People are just asking me weird questions. Thank you. Fruit bowl made with dried fruit. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Actually, you could totally do that if you dehydrated fruit. So more blooper reels. I like doing this. I think I've done 2 of those and they're fun. I was also going to do one that was sort of a frustration reel, but then I started to realize that it was going to become a little too much to handle, because I got super frustrated a handful of times as the camera was actually rolling, and it got a little dark. So I decided not to release that. But yeah, I like the blooper reels. They're fun. But I'm trying really hard to keep the bloopers in the videos, so there's not a ton to put in the bonus reels. Do I have a pet brick? No. I don't have a pet brick. You should do something with ramen noodles. I would. I think that's a great idea. And I think it's already on the list. One more question before I go to sleep. Would you ever want to do a fan meetup? I've done a handful of fan meetups, and yeah, I'm totally up for doing that again. My thing is that I don't feel like anybody wants to meet me in person, and so I just don't organize them. But every time I meet people in person, there's always a lot of people that want to meet me. So again, it's just my weird social anxiety. What's a jumping bean? Jumping bean bowl. I don't know what a jumping bean is. And no, we're not doing condom bowls. That's not cool. I'm not up for that. I don't do nasty stuff. I try not to do nasty stuff. Thank you for the suggestion, though. Good night, Faith. Have you ever tried soaking? So Christopher asked, because I was talking about the Orbeez earlier, have you ever tried soaking Orbeez in cactus juice? And the answer is yes. I let them soak in the cactus juice for 3 days and they never grew. So I've got an entire drawer full of Orbeez. If anyone comes to meet me, I will give you a bag full of Orbeez. They are no good to me. I've tried them with resin. I've tried them with cactus juice. I've tried them on toast. I haven't. Don't do that. That would be bad for you. Don't do that. Seriously, that you could die. You like the clocks? More clocks. Steven says more clocks. Maybe, yeah. I've got one more clockwork, so I can do some more stuff with that. What should I do with all the rest of the clockworks? I've got an entire container full of them. I have no idea what to do with them. I think they're so interesting, but I haven't got a clue what to use them for. Do you like Bobby Duke? I do, and I've met him now in person, and I like him in person. And I actually like his wife. She's super nice. She must be some sort of a saint. So, yeah, I like Bobby Duke. Jewelry from the clockwork pieces. That would be kind of cool. A resin tie. That's cool. That's a good idea. What are your thoughts on Kyle Toth? So I met Kyle Toth 3 years ago now, and I had a conversation with him. And I know he likes to take pictures, in the nude and dress up in weird costumes in his videos. But he was so normal in person, and he gave me a really interesting rundown of how he makes these segmented bowls and these beautiful works of art. So yeah, he's just a totally quirky person, and it comes across on the videos. But he's impressive woodworker. Kyle is an impressive woodworker, and a raving lunatic. So yeah, I think those go good together for YouTube. Where can we buy your amazing paper pens? I don't sell anything. And the paper pen, I keep scratching my nose. I bet that looks great on camera. The paper pen, I actually gave it away to somebody who asked me for it. So I don't even have it. I gave away the pen to one person and I gave away the blank to somebody else. So I don't like to keep the things that I make. I mostly just put them in a box someplace. For me, the end product is the video. So the actual things that I make are sort of the byproduct. I need some Shoptime swag. I sell shirts. I have shirts for sale. I think I've got a link for that in the last video, but I don't really have anything else. I'm not really good on the whole merchandising thing. I think it goes hand in hand with the I don't think anybody wants to meet me in person. It's that whole do you want this? It just feels, I don't know, it feels sort of narcissistic to assume that somebody wants to buy a shirt with my logo on it. I don't feel like anybody would actually want to do that. Could you make a resin comb? Yeah, that would work. You could totally make a resin comb. I don't see why you couldn't do that, and that would be fine. As long as you're not eating it. Because I know that some companies say that their resin is food safe, but I would never eat or drink out of a resin vessel. I think it'd be a really bad idea. I don't care how food safe they think it is. I think it's decorative. It's decorative as far as I'm concerned. Oh, something I have to clear up. I made this 3 years ago, and one of the best comments I get on it is, "Why is there a dark spot?" And there's not. It's an actual penny. Can you see that? It's just super dark, and it got really dark when I poured the resin on it. And I needed to clear that up. So this is probably one of the oldest resin projects I have that I use every day. And this is the closest thing to food safe that I would use, which is just that if something falls on it, I'd pick it up and I'd eat that thing. But I wouldn't ever serve anything raw on here. Other than that, pretty much nothing that I make out of resin has any contact with food. I made a beer thing, a beer glass a while back, and I drank out of it on camera, and it was a stupid idea. So don't do that. Could have sworn you said you left the space blank to annoy people. No, I said I should flip one of them over to annoy people, but I didn't do that. It just got really dark. The penny just got really, really dark. And that's not actually a penny, it's a cent. I actually do have a penny here someplace. This is a penny. It's actually from England and is a penny. American currency are actually called cents. Not that it matters. It doesn't really matter. It's just one of those things. What is the hardest wood you've ever used in a build? That would be ironwood, Mexican ironwood. I made bullets out of it, and it's incredibly hard, incredibly hard. Okay, I'm reading again, and I realize I'm totally quiet. You should listen to the musical Hamilton. I love musicals, and I'm totally going to check it out when or if it comes here to San Francisco. I don't think it has yet. The last musical I took my wife to was Wicked. We had a great time. It was really good. So. What's with the taco hammer? I do not understand the taco hammer thing. I'm 40 years old. Is that old enough or is that too old? I don't know. Am I right on the cusp or am I past the mark? Do you have any of that Fordite left? Sequoia wants to know if I have any of the Fordite left, which is the layers of paint that was sent to me by Carl Jacobson. The answer is yes. I still have some Fordite left. And it is amazing. It all comes down to the same thing. I have so much amazing materials and I have so many ideas. What I don't have is time in abundance. And a project takes me about a week, and then the video takes me about another week. And so I post a video probably once every 2 weeks. And so, that's only like 20 videos a year. And I don't know if I'm ever going to get to everything I have planned. But Fordite is amazing. The reason I'm looking over here is because after I sent Carl Jacobson the murder bowl, he sent me out a thank you. And one of the things in the thank you were these really cool Fordite keychains. I don't know if you can see that or not. I think my internet connection is going wonky. I keep seeing lines, but it's just polished up Fordite. It's really beautiful stuff. And Carl and his wife Robin are super nice people, and he has a great channel. Oh. Al Stories wants to know, do you still have the bacon handle? Yes, I do. It's way out in the shop. It'll take me a while to get it. It looks just as normal. It looks identical to the day I turned it. So it hasn't changed one bit. The resin has yellowed slightly, but It's not that big a deal. The bacon's a little orangey, so it kind of works with it. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes of your time to talk to me, Maker Central. Oops, I lost it. You inspire me. It was great to talk to you. It'd be great if you had the time to look at my channel. I will do that. Thank you very much for the conversation. I tried to have long conversations with folks at Maker Central, and it was weird because I think because everyone was queuing up, there was this anticipation that somebody behind them was sort of getting annoyed, and so about 4 minutes into the conversation, they'd start saying things like, "Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time," and they'd get out of queue and let the next person come, which is totally different than what happens in the US. In the US, people come in a mob and you get like this half circle of folks. And so you're talking over here and then you're talking over here. And then it's just kind of all over the place. But in England, everyone was in a nice line. They waited their turn. They got out of line when they were done. They took a picture. They thanked me. They got out of line. It was so organized and nobody was there telling them what to do, you know? And if I go into a Starbucks, it's not even that well organized, and they have like the little tapes to tell you where to go. It was amazing. Oh my gosh, we've been here an hour. Been here for an hour chatting, and all I wanted to do was basically come on and tell you all that I had a great time at my last event, and I'm a socially awkward individual and I have a bunch of anxiety. And then here I am talking for an hour about different types of woods and resin, and it's been nice. Thank you. Okay, we'll do this for another couple minutes, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. But and if you're going to be out at computer engineer who loves woodworking. My name is Peter, and I'm a computer engineer who loves woodworking. So we think you're a Time Lord. Very nice to meet another Peter. Yes, I used to love computers, and now it's just a job. So, but that happens with anything. Are you still a gamer, Peter? Yes, I am. I absolutely am. I spend a ton of time on Steam. If anyone is on Steam, you are welcome to friend me. I think my username is Kluge77. It's like Kluge77. But yeah, lots of time on Steam playing video games. I own a Switch, but I only bought a Switch so I could play Breath of the Wild, which was a great game. And then when I beat Ganon, I realized I didn't really want to play any more Switch games. I just wanted to play Breath of the Wild. So back to the PC. Do you play Overwatch? No, I haven't played Overwatch. And I don't play multiplayer games. I like single player games. So please say hi to me. Hello. Oh, I know you're a fan of Star Trek. Have you ever played Star Trek Adversaries yet? I haven't. I don't. Is that a mobile game or is that a real game? Is that a that sounded sort of derogatory. Sorry about that. It wasn't supposed to be derogatory. Did you get the DLC in Breath of the Wild? No, I haven't yet. I probably will. It looks like fun. I want to do the Master Sword Challenge. That looks like a lot of fun. Any more salt-based projects in the pipeline? No, not in the pipeline, but I still have a block of salt like this big. So if inspiration hits and I want to destroy all my tools, I've got everything I need to do it. And now I've got a whole bunch of friends popping up on my Steam account. I will totally friend you as soon as I'm done here. And you can see all the dorky games I've played. I've been playing Stardew Valley for the last 2 days to sort of detox. So it's not exactly exciting, but it is relaxing. Uh, all right, I think we did it. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me. It was sort of a spur of the moment thing, and I didn't think I would have 300 people that wanted to chat with me, but I've really enjoyed talking, and hopefully the audio and video were acceptable. I really don't know, but I guess you guys were all able to communicate, so it was cool. I will be at Makers Fair this weekend. I'm giving a talk with Steve Ramsey on Saturday, and hopefully I won't say anything idiotic live, but if I do, hopefully no one is recording. Yeah, thank you. I'll catch you guys later.